Let me get started with a euro. All right, so on euro, a couple of things happened this week. As you can see on the higher time frames, right? The lows over here were swept. The lows over here were swept, right? Buyers were trapped. So you can potentially see a move up. Now, I'm not sure if the higher time frame move is going to happen from here or if it's going to come take out more lows, but we'll see what euro does in the next couple of days. So ever since the low over here was swept, okay, if you go up to the or down to the 1 hour time frame, there was a couple things that happened. Number one was uh it started moving to the upside, right? I believe 1 second. Saturday, Friday, Thursday. Okay, so the start of the week was right here. Um, let's put a marker right here. All right, so coming into the week, right, Euro had a sell-off after taking out this high. Okay, you can see this high was taken out, and then had a sell-off taking out these lows, right? Trapping buyers right here into a liquidity block. Now you can see reactions from here. This isn't something I would like to take longs from because it just took out the highs and whatnot. So has a reaction from here, right? Comes up here, respects this area, right? So respecting that area builds that liquidity. Right here, red, and then builds liquidity up here, comes down, takes out the low, right? Trapping any buyers or early buyers right here, and also taking out these lows right here, right from the left. Okay, so you can see Sunday or market opens on Sunday, comes here, comes into this area around Monday 12 a.m. EST. The market respects this low right here, building that liquidity below here, comes here, respects this, and then takes out the low, right? So builds that liquidity, sweeps the takes out the low, trapping buyers, and then finally going to the upside towards this liquidity right here. Okay. And 1 second. Put this to the side. Okay. So after building that liquidity to the upside, comes, traps the buyers right here, and then finally has a move to the upside. In terms of entries, now this is when price action is here, this is where I normally wouldn't look for anything, only because it's just building liquidity to both sides. Once this low is swept and the market started moving to the upside, there are opportunities you can take to the upside. Most is broken. Anyways, market moves to the upside, comes here. Right, so any reactions from here, traps, right? You can see came here, came into this area, printed this low, right? Respecting this right here, and then moving higher. Inducing buyers, and then you can see buyers got trapped right here. And then finally moved to the upside. Taking this trade, because there's no like proper buildup in this area before taking out the low. I personally I'll be a little on the this will be a little on the extreme side, but regardless, you can see there is this right here on the 5 minute, a little 5 minute liquidity block, and then take that towards the highs. And yeah, pretty much. All right, so this is just understanding that liquidity was built to the upside. Okay, you can see a ton of liquidity was built to the upside. Market comes back, respects this area right here after inducing sellers. So you can see sellers were induced right here. And then sellers reduced after taking out this low. And the market comes into that area, right? Builds more liquidity to the upside. And then finally entry towards the highs. That was on Tuesday. And then you can see continuations. Continuations were on Wednesday. Right here. So you can see, there's still liquidity above. See right here. Market comes into that area right here. And just look at what the market does, right? So it comes into this area, comes all the way here. You can see a little slowdown of price over here. And then look at this big candle coming down, sweeping all that liquidity. And then right below, you got your liquidity block. Stop loss is a little bit on the bigger, larger side, but regardless, target wise, it makes sense. You still get a 1 to 7. I would be taking partials over here though. All right, it is a structural point, so I'll be taking partials. You still get a 1 to almost 1 to 6, and then just take it straight towards that liquidity up there. And yeah, pretty much that was on Wednesday. And then Thursday, let's see. Thursday, okay. Thursday was probably just building liquidity for NFP. As you guys know, NFP was on Friday. Thursday just built liquidity because you can see what happens on Thursday is just respects this low right here, right? Moves higher and then comes back, respects it again, and just moves higher, right? So this isn't price action I would want to be involved in, right? It is with structure. So I would stay away from that. And then Friday opens up, NFP. All that liquidity to the downside was left intact, right? So there you go. And then NFP drives price higher, right? Right into, hold on 1 hour real quick. Right into, so right here. Just grab this area right here. Right into there. And then right above, you got your liquidity block. Okay, so liquidity block above, the market respects this whole area. Okay, so let me actually draw it out. There you go. The market respects that area, builds that liquidity to the downside. NFP comes, drives the market a lot higher into trapping sellers over here into this liquidity block, and then you could potentially take it. Well, there's a couple ways you could have taken it. Actually, wait. No, I don't think there was a lower time frame entry, but this right here still gives you a 1 to 4, right? Whether you took it like this or you took it from right here, doesn't matter. It still gives you a nice 1 to 4 towards this low right here. Lower time frame wise, I'm pretty sure there was no entries. Just delete this. Yeah, so nothing I liked on the lower time frames. You can see all it did was come into this imbalance right here, came up here and then went lower, right? You can, on a smaller scale, right, you can argue there was a build up here, whatnot, after taking this out high out, liquidity block, whatever. But I personally stay away from price action like this. All it's doing is basically just, going down lower order flow wise. So yeah, pretty much lower time frames. I don't really like the entry. And yeah, that's about it for Euro. Any questions? Any questions before we hop on to another pair? Where's the question box? Any questions? Anyone? Yeah, you're good. No one's
Hi,
question.
Abid, can I ask a question?
Yeah, for sure.
The liquidity block below the place that you say that you don't want to trade each structure, why would you not go for a buy below that low?
Which one? Show me.
Yeah, exactly there.
Here.
Yeah,
Because it was structure, right? It took out the high. It took out this high right here.
okay.
Okay, so you can easily come sell off, right? Now you're just, if you were to take this, you would have to anticipate, okay, NFP is going to leave liquidity to the downside, but we're not really here to predict those type of things. So I wouldn't be taking longs here because this was structure. Took out the high, right? BOS the upside, induced buyers. Um, so if it pulls back, this whole area essentially is a trap, but it can be respected 100% and
Zawsze.
build more
Piękny
liquidity to the
jest.
downside. Right. So
Almış
this right here was basically the build up for this short from here to occur. You get me?
Yeah,
Okay. Any more
and the
Bayrağı
short,
questions?
vardı, bayrağı tanımadınız mı bayrağı?
yeah,
Euro
and the
dolarla
short
bayrağı
before
orta.
the NFP short, would you take it also?
The short before NFP shorts?
Yeah, yeah, like the
Where here?
structure. Yeah, yeah.
No, I wouldn't take that. Number one, NFP is gonna happen. Number two, you can't really predict because like you have to understand, right? Because of NFP, the market can easily just build liquidity. So you would rather wait for NFP to actually release, right? And then take a trade towards the buildup or the liquidity that's there. Right. So like this whole area, the market has been
Yeah.
building liquidity above here, right? So look at this. First takes this out, comes respects the low, right? Comes into this area. So the market coming here and respecting this high over here, all it does is build liquidity, right? So when it comes up and it does take out this high right here, that's the BOS to the upside, but it's still respecting the high to the left, which is right here. Let me actually bring this line over here. Down. Right there. Right. So the whole time the market's just building liquidity above here. So I wouldn't be taking shorts here.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
yeah, pretty much.
Oha da günde 1000 dolar,
Thank you.
2000 dolar.
Any more
Bunlar
questions?
Central Yunus'tan.
Anyone else with questions?
Bunun son bir jarym son bo'ladi-ku, normal.
So
Zato o'shantib kunda
what do you
ishlab,
see for next
kun
week?
ishini kunda.
What do I see for next week?
Jumazini хотя бы
I'll be quite
foydalanib
honest.
turaman-ku, jumazini 5-6
I can't really pinpoint
kunni
Euro's
ketib turaman.
direction. I can see that NFP shorts happened,
Turchma o'shanda
right?
ishlayapmiz.
You could potentially see
Pul
moves to the
bo'lsa,
upside. If the higher time frame move is in play, right, you can see the market going higher. But to be honest, right, this can also low-key be the build-up, right? The market going lower, trapping buyers, and then going higher,
Tuna ikisini isteyen
right?
sen
So
to'y
I would definitely have to see what happens over the
Almakasın
next
sen to'y
few trading days. and then I could kind of pinpoint a proper direction for euro. But that's just me. Anyone else have questions? Okay, if not, I will go to another pair. Damn, I don't really want to touch gold because you can see gold's all the way at the highs. So let's look at Nas. Okay. Looking at Nas, you can see there was a lot of liquidity built up here. Okay, so you can see this like slowdown of price within this POI or whatever, right? This obviously happens for a reason. And yeah, so Nas comes into, let's see, that was Friday. Sorry. This is Friday, Thursday, Tuesday. Oh damn, there really wasn't that much this week. Let's see. All right, so on the 1 hour time frame. Yes. So you can see that the market. Oh damn. All right, you can see a buildup of liquidity above here, right? So number one, the market comes into, right? So every time it comes here, it just goes lower, right? And building liquidity to the upside. You can see comes Princess low, comes higher, right? Builds liquidity here. Okay, after building that liquidity there, you can see the low over here was swept. Okay, it was actually pretty decent. And yeah, right. So you have to, you basically have to see what the market does, right? You can't just start buying just because this low got taken out. From here, after taking out this low, right, the market moves higher, right? On the 15, if you go on the 15, you can see after taking out the low, market moves to the upside, right? You can say BOS to the upside right here, right? Inducing buyers. Then you got the entire low being the trap right about here. And then there you go, right? So the market moves to the upside, BOS to the upside, inducing buyers, comes lower. You can see the slowdown of price right here, right? The slowdown just inducing more buyers, right? Smart money concepts or other traders would look at this as like, like, okay, impulse correction, right? Slowdown of price. They're looking to buy here, right? Because they got their confirmation, that BOS as their confirmation. They ended up getting trapped, and then the market moves to the upside. In terms of entries, I believe there was something on the 5 minutes. Or let's just go down to the 1 minute for this. Where was
Анан
this?
10 миңге чыгарып туруп
Right here.
Bir жума иштеп туруп кайра силип болуп калсаңыз.
Okay. So, understanding that the buildup already happened, right? This whole area or this whole thing right here, this whole move right here
10
was
миңге
the buildup,
чыгарабыз. Азыр айтып коюшуң
right? The market goes higher, sweeps the lows, trapping the buyers, right? Inducing sellers.
Билимди ала берсеңиз.
And there you go. So the market moves to the upside, respects this high.
Bir күндө 10 миңди, 20 миңди иштей турган болуп калат.
Okay. Building that liquidity to the upside. Because remember, right? After taking out the low right here, after taking out this low, the market moved higher, but it didn't take out any highs, right? There was no, um, yeah, it didn't take out any liquidity. All it did was just build more liquidity, right? Above these highs over here. And then the market moved lower into this right here. So you could have taken it like this, to be honest. Just like that. It is a liquidity block, so you know, taking this here, putting your stop loss below. Uh, this, if you take it like that, target wise, I would say, see, this makes sense. Yeah, so target wise, it does make sense. It does. So just targeting the high to the left, take some partials here, whatever. And targeting the high to the left, you still get almost a 1 to 7. So it's not bad, right? In terms of a risk to reward. And then yeah, pretty much this was quite simple though, like literally just, buyers induced over here, buyers trapped, and then into a liquidity block and then the move higher. Um and yeah, pretty much. So that's about it for uh Nas on Tuesday. After that, right, you can see Nas took out the high from the left. Right. So this is a counter bias short if you were to be involved in this. So um it's not something I always do. Sometimes I do it, but I have to be like up for the month or whatever. So yeah, this is a counter bias move. And yeah, because you can't always predict that the market is gonna move lower from here. Right. After taking out this high, it can easily just keep making newer highs. Right. So it is a counter bias move. So it's like more, I'd say less probable than taking a pro bias move. All right. Uh, However, if you did want to get involved in that, you could potentially say, yeah, it's a little tricky, to be honest. You got your build up right here, right? The market moves higher. Yeah, no proper lower time for entry. I would have probably liked to enter if it took out this high right here. But yeah, regardless, it was a pretty decent move. Yeah, because after taking out these, I mean, after the market goes lower, right, builds that liquidity to the downside, comes here, respects this high, comes lower. I would have wanted the market to come take out this high right here. Right, so entry here, stop loss above. But the market wanted to respect this high and move lower, which is completely fine. Just means no entry for me if I was trying to get involved in that. So yeah, that's for Nas. And then ever since it just kept dying. I believe this whole thing was Wednesday. And then Thursday, let's see. Yeah, so you can see the market comes into this area right here. It's a liquidity block, so you do see some reactions. So I would personally would have liked the market to come above here. Right? Obviously just came here, respected it, went lower. Nothing I like too much. And yeah, pretty much that's about it for, let's see, Thursday. All this is Thursday. And then NFP just shoots. higher. That's about it. So nothing else for the rest of the week for Nas, to be honest. Just this long and the short from up here. Uh, so yeah. Any questions? There's no questions. I will move on to another pair. All good to hear, bro. That's good to hear. Okay, let's look at GBP USD. On features. Uh, All right, so on GU. All right, so a couple things on GU. You can see, right, the market sells off, takes out these lows. Right, you get your little slowdown price action in this area, right, just a little bit, and the market moves lower. Okay, so let's go down to the 1 hour and see what happens. Okay, so you basically have to see what the when the higher time frame aligns, right? So like lower time frames have to align with higher time frames. So for this, you just go with whatever the market gives you in the current moment, right? So GU, I believe. Let's see. Monday, yeah. Monday. All right. So what do you see? What do you see? Okay. So the market comes here, right? Prints this low right here. Moves higher, respects this high, building liquidity above here, comes lower, respects this low, building liquidity below. Right? So you got liquidity below here. Market moves higher, takes out all this liquidity that was being built, and then moves lower, right? And traps the buyers that were here. Okay. So once buyers were trapped right here, okay, you can see this as a, yeah, so you can see the market moving higher, right? I believe this was at 1 a.m. EST, so it's not even the start of London. Let's see. Yeah, and to be honest, lower time frames is nothing. Okay, so let's go back to the 15. Actually, wait, I'm tripping. This is Monday. Oh, okay, we're good. All right. So the market takes out this high, right? Just building more liquidity above here, right? To be honest, you can say there's a lot of liquidity above just everywhere. Let's go to the 1 hour time frame. Just look for, yeah, okay. So, let's see this right here. All right. So, you can see the market builds this low right here, comes higher, BUS to the upside, right? Inducing buyers. There you go. Respects the low, builds that liquidity to the downside, and then moves higher and just keeps building more liquidity to the downside, right? So you can potentially say this whole area is the buildup, right? Let's go right here. All this right here is the buildup, right? The market comes, sweeps the lows, right? Trapping all the buyers. So, in this, like, so this happened on Monday. Tuesday was right here, and all Tuesday did was just build liquidity to the downside, right? So it's not really something like this type of price action I'll stay away from. Right? I like to look for higher time frame moves, or like not higher time frame, but like just more, I'd say, long-term moves than just very quick in and outs. I don't really like to scalp that much. So yeah, this is where I'll just avoid price action. Tuesday built liquidity to the downside, right? Just moved higher, taking out this high, right? Building more liquidity above here. And then you can see this like very sharp sell-off, right? Inducing sellers. All right. So you see this slowdown in price action comes into this POI, right? This very sharp sell-off, taking out the low over here, right? Trapping buyers, and then finally having to move to the upside. I know there was no entries because I was looking for it. Uh, I was waiting for a price. I mean, I was waiting for price action to give me an entry, but that did not happen, right? So after taking out the lows, it just starts shooting to the upside. No entry on lower time frames, and even higher time frames. I don't see anything, right? Because you got this right here. No liquidity block. If there's a liquidity block here, right? So if the market did something like this, then I would take this, right? Keeping my stops below here. However, that's not what happened. So yeah, pretty much. No entries. Sorry, not here. If liquidity block, buyers trapped, entry, stop loss. Yeah, pretty much. However, I don't see no liquidity block from the left over here, and lower time frames didn't give anything either. So, this is very unfortunate. But yeah, you can't really get involved in this. But it's nice to see. That's it for GU on Wednesday. Thursday, to be honest, the Wednesday took out the highs. It didn't even like play around in this area. It just went straight to the high. And then you can see this move back down, coming into this low. Okay, so this is why understanding or where like liquidity is being built is important, right? So this move to the upside, right? You can see how fast this move was. Um, Induces buyers, right? You can see the market comes lower into this area, right? And then you can even see like a little slowdown price action over here. And then finally you got your BOS, right? And then moves to the upside, right? Liquidity is being built below here. You got liquidity below here now, right? Just one of these. You got liquidity below. You got your BOS right here, right? And then you got your, pull back into this whole area. So there'll be buyers trying to enter over here. Okay. And then you can see after buyers, right? Let's say retail traders entering over here. You can also see you got your little minor BOS to the upside over here. And then finally, right, you got all this liquidity being built up. You can finally see, right, liquidity being built up. This low is taken out, moved higher, and then finally there you go. You got your build up right here. And then I think on lower time frames. Yes. So this is just yeah, there you go. Took out the low, right? This right here. Takes out this high, builds that liquidity block, comes lower, engineers that liquidity to the downside, and then there you go. Entry right here. Right? Uh, I believe this is a trade Marco took, and some other people in the group probably took too. Straight towards the lows. Or you can say little partials right here. So get a nice 1 to 6 if you partial right there. And then just hold the rest towards here. And that gives you a nice 1 to 10, to be honest. So definitely a very nice move. And yeah, pretty much clean stuff from GU on Thursday. And then Friday is just yeah, disgusting. Anyways, that's it for GU. Any questions? Anyone have any questions? Also, if I'm going too fast or whatever, or I'm going too slow, just let me know. Okay. Anyone have any questions? Very clean. Yes, it was very clean. Okay. No one has any questions. I will move on to the Nas, GU, and what else was there? Oh, GP, JPY, I believe. Let's look at GJ. That type. All right. So GJ. Yeah, so higher time frame, very interesting. Um, the market comes here, takes out this high right here, and then okay. So you got your BOS to the downside, right? Market comes into this area, builds liquidity below, and then finally traps uh sellers. Okay, after that, let's see on the lower time frames what happens. Real quick. Okay. You got liquidity below. Okay. So, this whole area was respected, right? So building liquidity to the downside. Also, you got your little structural liquidity right here. Market moves higher. All right, let's go to the 15. Comes into, you could say, okay, it takes this out, right? BOS to upside. You got your liquidity block above. That's your liquidity block. And yeah, so let's go down to the 5 minute. Takes out the highs. You got your little buildup right here. Market moves higher into this right here. Right, so you got your sellers trapped. And then there you go. I believe this was on a Thursday. Yeah. So I am working backwards here. Thursday. Skip the rest of the week. Regardless, this was a move. I believe someone took this in the group. Quite clean. move to the downside. And yeah, quick and easy move on GBP JPY, right? You got your all the structural liquidity right here, and then market came here, respected it, moved higher. You got your BOS to the upside, inducing buyers, right? So there is liquidity below here, and then after you got your little build up right here, right? A little minor one right here, right about here, minor build up, and then that move to upside, clearing that liquidity, got a liquidity block above, and then sell off, right? Pretty simple, easy move on GBP JPY. Let's see if there's something else, to be honest. I just jumped there straight to Thursday. Anyone have any questions about this trade though? Just let me know. No, okay. All right, so this was Wednesday, so to be honest, I'm working backwards right here. Can you see AUD USD? Sure, I'll just jump to AUD USD then. Oh, I don't even have it on my list. AUD USD right here. To the higher time frames. All right, so you got this right here. Structural liquidity right there. You can argue took out this low. And that's just being very intricate. But yeah, so let's go down to the 15. Okay, so from here the market moves to the upside. Okay, you can see this buildup of liquidity right here. Right, you got your buildup of liquidity. So market comes here, moves to the upside, and then let's see, reacts from here, moves lower, traps the buyers, and then you can see this move up, building liquidity above here, comes lower into right here, right? It comes into there and then moves higher. Okay, so let's see. What about that? I took a buy. Is it with structure? So let's see. Okay, took out this low, but nothing from the left was taken, right? You can see this whole area or this whole move that happened. Right on. So this whole move that happened, right? All it did was just come out of this imbalance right here, right? And nothing from the left was taken, right? So you can basically just see this whole area being used as liquidity, right? So to be honest, I would have to wait for price action below here, right? Because you got your build up here. Okay. You can also argue you got your BOS to upside here and stuff and here. But then nothing from the left was taken, right? This reacted from nothing, right? Reacted from literally. You'd have to argue this right here. So yeah, I wouldn't be looking for buys right away in that area. right? Because you got your little sweep of liquidity, sure, right? It just took out this current low right here, and all it does is just feel that move to up here, right? Now, this is also, you also have to understand this is a liquidity block, so it can respect it, build more liquidity, right? So comes to this area, it can easily just build more liquidity, go lower, right? Understanding this whole move happened out of nowhere, right? Didn't react from anywhere. And yeah, pretty much. And then, so that's why taking a trade over here, I wouldn't do, right? Um, Stefan, right? Yeah. I would just wait for more price action to form type thing. So, do you understand? You good, Stefan? Okay. So, anyways, Marco said check out shorts Friday, New York. All right, so, oh damn. Okay, so you got your liquidity. This is Friday, right? Yeah, it's a Friday. Okay, you got this right here, liquidity block. The move lower, you can say this is your buildup of liquidity right here. And then there you go. Induces sellers. Sellers get trapped. Buildup of liquidity right here as well. Quite clean actually. And then there you go. Right, nice and easy move from the highs. Uh, let's see lower time frames if you could find an entry. Oh, that's giving me a headache. Hold up. Okay. Let's delete all that and try all the lines. Okay, so takes out the high, liquidity block right there. And then build up, trap into liquidity block, right? And then lower time frame wise, looks pretty clean to be honest. This was at, well, this was right after NFP. So post NFP short on AUD USD is pretty clean. You got the move to the upside. Finally, the market moves lower. You can say this right here. All right, you got your BOS to the downside. Respects the high. Okay, so respects the high a couple of times. Look at this. Moves lower, prints this low, comes here, respects this high, builds that liquidity, right? Builds that liquidity above, comes lower again. Can you allow me to annotate? Oh, my fault. I don't know how to do that. How the hell do I do that? Okay. So, market moves down here and then moves higher, right? Builds that, I mean, takes this high out, comes into the liquidity block, and then moves slower again. Marco said the entry was at 12. Let's see. Oh, this right here. Were you seeing this one right here? Okay, yeah. So you got your little let's see. You got this build up right here. All this liquidity to the downside, right? Comes into here. Let's just draw it out like that. Right? Comes into that area. You can say a break and retest type thing. You know what I'm saying? Okay, retest this area, moved higher, and then you got your BOS to the upside. And then, yeah, pretty much you got your little, this right here too. Okay, so from here, clears all the liquidity, induces more buyers, and then finally the move down, right, into these lows right here. Okay, so in terms of entries, enter right here or even right here. Stop loss though. See, that's a tricky one, to be honest. I personally would keep stop loss above here, even though you can argue this as a liquidity block. So yeah, nevertheless, right, still gives you a nice 1 to 5. Yeah, nice, almost a 1 to 6 to be honest. Quick and easy one. Can you actually build up at the low differentials? That's what I did. Open up. Oh, yeah, yeah, pretty much. Right? Because you can argue this is a liquidity block, right? And try to take this, but also understanding that this is just a lot safer, right? Because the market took this out, all that liquidity, came here, built liquidity to the downside, had this channel, right? Inducing buyers by taking out this high. Okay, right into liquidity block and then take the trade to the lows, right? Nice and simple, easy move, right? You can argue, like you can take it from here if you wanted to, or just understanding there's a trap right here. But to be honest, this is a lot better type of entry because you got your engineered liquidity to the downside by the market coming and tapping into this area, right? Higher time frame POI, you got your little BO what is that? Break and retest, right? Right, a little break and retest right there. Channel induces buyers, traps all the sellers, and then move right down, right? Quick and easy. Yeah, pretty much nice, quick and easy trade on AUD on Friday. Anyone have any questions? Any questions? Should we treat the whole imbalance move like an inducement for AUD? What do you mean by that? The move from Thursday.
Yo, Abid, I'll what's it called? I'll go through this if you let me share my screen.
Okay. Let's host tools. All right.
Perfect. Can you see?
Yeah, I can see.
Okay, are you talking about this big bullish move we had here to the upside? Yeah, yeah. So just simply asking yourself, well, what was the purpose for this bullish move? We had buildup of liquidity on the way down, right? So this tapped into something on the left-hand side, caused this big bullish run up, clearing all this liquidity. So on a large time frame perspective, like it's going to take a bit to play out, obviously, because this is basically on the 1 hour, right? So sometimes price can come back down to the lows. Look how we respect the lows to engineer liquidity, right? And now this is now going to become a future target. So I took shorts like Abba just broke down on yesterday in New York. Partial is taken here, okay? And then final target's going to be down here because I'm looking at these lows to be engineered liquidity and should end up being taken out, right? And if you look on a larger perspective as well, you can see on the daily liquidity block created, okay? And then we ran daily high here. Oops. We ran daily high here, tapping, making another liquidity block. So I'm looking at daily high to possibly daily low. And then also, of course, there's equals down here. So maybe we can run this as well. But that's my whole perspective of that. But yeah, to answer your question, this big bullish move, the intention behind this was to clear this internal liquidity. Okay. And as we know, what happens when we do that is it induces buyers because everyone views this low causing new highs as like a BOS in the market. So automatically when that occurs, like we always talk about, this is going to be an area that they're going to be looking to buy from, right? But we understand that this is most likely going to be a trap, even if there's reactions, okay? We always talk about how we don't like buying from areas like this, but it doesn't mean it's not going to cause a reaction. The reason it does, obviously, is because it's a liquidity block, right? So I always talk about how it's a low probability buy, but it still ends up working out nice too. You can have the confluence of, look how we've taken out this hourly low, targeted the hourly high, and you have all of this liquidity to target as well. So this buy ends up occurring. Again, what's the purpose of this buy here? Same thing, like this, from a low to high. Same thing over here, from low to high. It's to clear that liquidity. But what happens here is we come up here, and this is in end of Thursday. So look, Asia ends up building liquidity here because we don't run all the liquidity yet. So it's just hinting, it's telling sellers get in early, and it's done this on purpose. Okay, builds liquidity here. We haven't taken that out from the left yet. Okay, and then again in NFP obviously is the catalyst to running all the liquidity to the upside, and then we have liquidity block here. So what a bunch of entry opportunities, to be honest with you. Anything above this high was a sell. Obviously, it comes all the way into the extreme. So if you were lucky enough to wait for a price to come into the extreme, any of this was entries from a higher time frame perspective. And then again, just like Abid covered on the lower time frames, you had another opportunity being here. And this is the same thing happens over and over, right? Look, build up, okay, trap. So entries right here. And then if you didn't want to take an entry like that, you would have had to wait for some sort of confirmation in this area, and unfortunately it did not occur. Okay, so the entry would have been anywhere above this high was a buy, was a sell. And then I just again open up your stop loss above that liquidity block. But yeah, and again targeting all of the liquidity to the lows, right? So on a lower time frame perspective, here, and then finally, eventually, hopefully it's going to come down to here. That's going to be my final target on this short. Okay. But yeah, I just wanted to break this down because this is an entry I currently have running, but I did close 50% of my volume down here. Okay, and again, just like I spoke, I'm just looking to target these guys down here. So we'll see. We'll see what the rest of early week brings us, but that's my final target on AU. But yeah, to answer your question again, just to go over a quick, this is definitely just a false move to the upside because of this whole idea. All right. Of course, brother, no worries. That's it for me on this though. Abid, you all good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Um,
And also have any
guys,
questions?
do you have any more questions, concerns, anything you want to cover?
Hi,
Any
Marco.
questions? Yeah, what's up? Kingsley, what's up, brother?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Good.
Yeah, sometimes I have these problems trusting liquidity blocks. Sometimes I have like two liquidity blocks sitting below and a structure like a break of structure. Then I knew that price is still going to sweep the break of structure. Then I would be finding it difficult to like choose between the two liquidity blocks below the structure.
Okay, so to simplify it, I can draw like. Okay, so in this example here, we've taken out this high, which is now induced buyers, right? And what we always talk about is when price comes back down to this low, this is a liquidity block, okay? But you have to understand that this is technically we're trading with structure from on a retail perspective, okay? Because you have low, high, taking out previous high here, and now retail is going to anticipate reactions higher. Okay, we don't like to be trading from these areas. Like I just talked about on AU, it's not wrong because technically this is a liquidity block, so it can provide reactions, but it's just low probability. So what I like to look for is on the way down, if I'm bearish and I want price to go lower, I want to see a buildup occur again, okay, like this, and we move away. Why do I want this to occur? I want this to occur because now this provides me a level to take an entry from. Because when we come down here, this is not going to be an area we're looking to buy from, okay? We allow the market to respect that liquidity block, and then if you look above, this is going to be an area we're going to be looking to take an entry from because it's not trading with retail anymore. Look how we've engineered liquidity at the low using this liquidity block, and now we have an opportunity to sell here lower. Okay, and again, this is the good liquidity block you want to be using. This is not the one you want to be using. But yeah, that's just to simplify it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so you want to be using like a liquidity block that has a build up around it.
Of course, yes. Because remember, the buildup, that's the liquidity that we're using to take our entry off of, essentially, right? Because look how the market hunts this. It set it up on purpose, right? So it sets this up, comes down here to induce buyers, and moves away. Perfect. Now we have a target to buy into, right? We got money down here.
Okay.
And then we take the sells above the liquidity block, above the liquidity. The liquidity block supports our sell entry, and then we sell into here. Okay? So sell like this. Stop loss always above the liquidity block, and then our target down here.
Yeah.
Okay, that's to simplify everything like that. So again, because this is with retail, we won't be usually buying here. It's like I always talk about this. It's not wrong too, because it can provide reactions in the market, but it's just low probability. Okay, this is the high probability one.
Yeah. Are you a captain?
Perfect.
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 Yeah.
Nice one, brother.
Okay.
Cool. Any other questions, guys, before we wrap up for the weekend? Let me know. Any questions for Abid about how you can make 20K a trade? You can ask him. How? How do you make 20K a trade? You have to have absolutely no emotion to money whatsoever. And then sometimes you can just open up 50 lots, 100 lots, and then, yeah. Maybe one day we can all get to that point. Abid will teach us. Full port, this guy's. Oh, God.
Full port is crazy.
Yeah, definitely don't full port. By the way, guys, we're joking when we say full port. I hope you guys don't actually end up going to your accounts and full porting the things, because that's obviously not the most professional way of going about things. But yeah, guys, if that's all for you guys, no more questions, we'll wrap up here. Abid, you all good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Cool.